All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chartroom and bridge, probably whole crew dead. These were the terrifying words that crackled across the radio in the early hours of a quiet morning in 1948. Minutes later, a final, chilling message followed, "I die." When rescuers finally reached the ship, they didn't find a battle or a shipwreck. They found a crew of frozen, terrified statues, staring at the sky with eyes wide open and mouths agape in a silent scream. Today, we dive into the mystery of the SS Ourang Medan, the ghost ship that officially never existed.
Hello and welcome. If you're new here, welcome to Amazing 5.
Our story begins in February 1948, in one of the busiest and most mysterious waterways in the world, the Strait of Malacca. It is a narrow stretch of sea between Malaysia and Indonesia, a place where thousands of ships have passed for centuries. On this particular day, the weather was calm. The sun was shining, the water was a deep, peaceful blue. And for the sailors on nearby American and British ships, it seemed like just another normal day at sea. But the peace was shattered by a frantic signal. It wasn't a voice at first. It was Morse code, the language of dots and dashes used for long-distance communication. Multiple listening stations and ships picked it up. The message was broken, desperate and haunting. It claimed to be from a Dutch freighter called the SS Ourang Medan. The operator signaled that the captain and all the officers were dead. Then, a series of confused dots and dashes followed, as if the person sending the message was losing their mind or their life. Finally, the two most famous words in maritime mystery history came through: "I die." Then, the radio went dead. The nearest vessel, an American merchant ship called the Silver Star, immediately changed course. The captain of the Silver Star felt a heavy knot in his stomach. He knew the sea could be dangerous, but a message like that suggested something far worse than a simple accident. As the Silver Star approached the last known coordinates of the Ourang Medan, the crew scanned the horizon with binoculars. They found her drifting aimlessly. From a distance, the ship looked perfectly fine. There was no smoke, no fire, and no signs of a struggle. But as they got closer, they realized something was very wrong. Usually, when a ship sees another vessel approaching, there is a wave, a shout, or a signal. The Ourang Medan was silent. The rescue team from the Silver Star climbed onto the deck, and what they found would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The deck was covered in bodies. The crew members were lying on their backs, their faces turned toward the sun. But they didn't look like people who had died of a heart attack or a sickness. Their faces were twisted into masks of pure, unfiltered horror. Their eyes were wide open, staring at something invisible in the sky. Their mouths were open as if they had died mid-scream. Even the ship's dog, a small terrier, was found dead, its teeth bared in a snarl toward an empty corner of the deck. There was no blood, no bullet holes, no wounds of any kind. It was as if a ghost had flown through the ship and frightened every living soul to death in a single second. The rescue team moved toward the engine room, but the air inside the ship felt strangely cold, much colder than it should have been in the tropical heat. They found the radio operator still slumped over his equipment, his cold fingers still resting on the keys. He, too, had that same expression of terror. The captain of the Silver Star decided they had to tow the ship back to port to investigate. But as soon as they attached the tow lines, smoke began to billow from the lower decks, specifically from cargo hold 4. Within seconds, a massive explosion rocked the sea. The rescue team barely had time to cut the ropes and jump back onto their own boat before the Ourang Medan was engulfed in flames. They watched in silence as the mysterious ship hissed, tilted, and sank into the dark depths of the ocean, taking all the bodies and all the evidence with it. For years, people argued about whether the Ourang Medan was even real. There were no official records of a ship by that name in the Dutch shipping registries. Many dismissed it as a sea story, a legend told by sailors to pass the time. However, in May 2003, the mystery took a strange turn. The CIA declassified a letter written in 1958 by an assistant to the director of the CIA. The letter mentioned the Ourang Medan and suggested that whatever happened on that ship held the answer to many airplane accidents and unsolved mysteries of the sea. So, what really happened? The most logical theory is a hidden tragedy from the end of World War II. It is believed the ship was smuggling dangerous, unregistered chemicals like potassium cyanide or nerve gas that had been captured from Japanese secret labs. If seawater had leaked into the cargo hold and mixed with these chemicals, it would have created a cloud of invisible, deadly gas. This gas would have killed the crew instantly, paralyzing their lungs and leaving them with those horrified expressions before they even realized they were dying. The chemical reaction would have eventually caused the fire and the explosion that sank the ship. The story of the SS Ourang Medan is a reminder that the ocean is not just a place of beauty, but a vast graveyard of secrets. Whether it was a supernatural event or a tragic chemical accident, crew of the Ourang Medan remains a silent warning from the past. It teaches us that nature and the consequences of human secrecy are often more powerful than any technology we build. Even today, when sailors pass through the Strait of Malacca, they look at the quiet blue water and wonder if, somewhere deep below, the Ourang Medan is still there, a steel tomb holding a secret that was never meant to be found. The sea keeps its secrets well, but sometimes, through a crackling radio and a desperate Morse code, it lets us hear a whisper of the truth.